Hello, friends. We've shared over the past few weeks that we were intending to begin to post and make available to you some devotions based on some of our favorite hymns, whether that might be the stories behind their writing, or perhaps at a more personal note, the stories that make them our favorite hymns. And I'd like to share with you a correspondence I received from one of our members. I shared this in our worship a week or so ago, but for those of you that are online, I'd like to share it with you now. This individual writes, I thought I would share with you my favorite hymn, Trust and Obey. It's number 467 in our hymnal. They wrote, I grew up in a Baptist church, and as was the tradition, children and adults are asked to make public professions of faith by going forward during the last song of a rather lengthy church service. I knew from a very young age that was what I was supposed to do, and most of the children would wait for vacation Bible school or some other meaningful service to go forward. Most of my friends at that time, and my brother and my cousins, all went up together one Sunday, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't go. It wasn't until some time later, I was only 9 years old, that I felt what John Wesley would describe as a strange warming of my heart. It didn't happen during a church service, though. It happened in my room at night while I was praying. And I can say I know for certain I was never the same. I still had a lot to learn and know about Jesus, but from that very specific moment in my life, as best as a 9-year-old can know, I was a follower of Jesus. It was a few weeks later that in a pew of that little Baptist church on a random Sunday morning, much to the surprise of everyone around me, I went forward and made that profession of faith, not because of my friends or because of my parents, but because I knew I needed to trust and obey. Honestly, I don't even know what song was playing at the time, but for the rest of my life, whenever I hear the hymn, Trust and Obey, I'm transported to that moment, alone in my room praying and asking Jesus to come into my heart. A lot has changed in the 30 years since then. I know so much more about what it really means to be a follower of Jesus, but some things haven't changed, and that is the simplicity and profoundness of trusting and obeying. I believe I've only sang that hymn a handful of times in the Methodist church, but it's still one of my favorites. And I learned as an adult, quite coincidentally, that it's my mom's favorite song, too. Allow me to share with you the words of that song. Relax, get your finger away from the mute button. I'm not going to sing it, but I would like to read some of those words to you. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Not a shadow can rise, not a cloud in the skies, but His smile quickly drives it away. Not a doubt or a fear, not a sigh or a tear can abide while we trust and obey. Not a burden we bear, not a sorrow we share, but our toil He doth richly repay. Not a grief, nor a loss, not a frown, nor a cross, but is blessed if we trust and obey. But we never can prove the delights of His love until all on the altar we lay. For the favor He shows and the joy He bestows are for those who will trust and obey. Then in fellowship sweet we will sit at His feet, or we'll walk by His side in the way. What He says we will do, where He sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey.